So I'm looking at the GIS survey techniques first of all. The stages here are first of all to go onto site. This is intended to be a one-person operation. To locate an inspection chamber, lift the lid, get the location, which can be by GPS, in which case you could get X, Y and Z height information as well. That goes straight into the GIS. Put the sewer back device into the first pipe, activate the signal, 20-second test. As Nathan has explained, we can identify the end of the pipe. From that we can also identify the diameter from the acoustic signal. We get the bearing from the digital compass and the condition response as well. Turn the device around to the next pipe, do the same again. Process the signals, we can infer where the ends of the pipe are, we can record photographs, make other notes. And so we're building very quickly a network which is going straight into the GIS system, which can then be uploaded into the corporate database for further processing. The signal can be processed to identify possible defects as well, so that can be used to schedule further inspection and maintenance. This is a screenshot of the GIS system that Michelle developed, which uses master map data and context-sensitive screen on the left-hand side, which brings in information from the digital compass and other information depending on which part of the survey you're involved in. So it's very quick, one-person operation. The other aspect is using that information to identify the maintenance needs, look at the condition of these pipes. Now, this part can be done independent of the survey, so it can be used with the survey or it can be used independently. And this is, Nathan showed some squiggly lines which were the intensity at different points along the pipe at a certain very small band pass. What I'm showing you here is the length along the pipe, along the bottom, the range in meters, frequencies up the scale, and then the intensity of the colour where you see a response indicates the strength of that response. So what we're looking at here is a very low energy loss, with no defects along the length of the pipe, and then a very bright flare where the remote manhole is. And from that we can deduce that actually there's nothing wrong with this pipe. It's a good, clean pipe. The intention is the operator would never actually see that. I'm showing you that picture to make you, help you to understand what the system is doing. The system would just say, this is a good, clean pipe, it's a green traffic light. But we've been doing quite a lot of due diligence work with various people, actually having these signals given to us and saying, right, what does this mean? And then we get the CCTV to compare it with. And in that particular case, this is the CCTV from that same scan. We then see that the pipe is a good clean pipe, no defects, so that's a good match. Looking at a different pipe, we can see on this particular case we've got the signal being injected into the pipe on the left-hand side. Again, we can see the remote manhole on the right-hand side, but it's not as distinct, and there are quite a lot of responses from about 0 to 30 metres. There's still a fairly low energy loss, so the defects are not that severe. And what those are, we interpret those as displaced joints and some poor connections. Have a look at the condition, and that would be interpreted as this pipe isn't perfect, but it doesn't actually need further survey or intervention at this time. Maybe schedule it for another survey in a few years' time, at which time you would have this acoustic signature, which could be compared with a signal for the repeat survey and look for change. Due diligence, what we actually find is we've got displaced joints, we've got intruding connections, but nothing very wrong with it. Third example, we've got much more going on in this pipe. We can't see the signal from the remote manhole because the signal is being lost because there are so many defects in the pipe. We can see some very bright flares and some lesser signals. And what we have here is very high energy loss, and we've got significant damage, displaced joints and quite poor connections. Due diligence, look at the CCTV, we allocate that a red traffic light, we do need to do further survey. And from the CCT that was done, we can see we've got, as an example here, at about 12 metres, quite badly damaged pipe, displaced sections of the pipe and poor connections. So this is a proof, if you like, that the concept works in practice. From the samples we've done, we find that typically about 20 or 30% of these would have a red traffic light and would require, or we would recommend, further CCTV. But we can distinguish good and bad pipes quite well. If you go back and do CCTV on 20% of those pipes which you say proven to be bad, cost savings are about 65%. It depends on how many bad pipes there are, but because the Silbat survey is only about 1/10 of the cost of CCTV, overall you can save about 2/3 of your budget. And you've then got some survey by an appropriate method of the whole asset base. This doesn't mean to say that with CCTV, the way it's been done in the past is you try and identify the strategic pipes, the critical pipes first of all, and then only go and survey those. Here we survey everything by an appropriate technique and focus the CCTV where it's actually needed. And as I said before, we've then got a benchmark for every pipe where we can go back and survey in the future and look for deterioration. Again, using survey. If there's no change, we don't need to do CCTV. Also, with Silbat, we've been found useful for identifying the locations of blockages. When dig downs are required, we get the length along the pipe, very quickly we can go down and excavate. And it could be used for establishing the effectiveness of sewer cleansing by jetting. Jetting wagons could have one of these devices on, do a test before and after jetting. So the system at the moment is being commercialised in collaboration with a major manufacturer who has other interests in this sphere of operations. We've got one water company who's wanting to purchase 150 of these units as soon as they're ready. We think it should be commercially available in 2011. But in the meantime and after that, the academic research will continue, so the system is going to continue to develop, and I think it's going to be a significant additional string to the bow of sewerage system operators and highway drainage system operators. That's the end of the presentation.